In this video, I am going to teach the land of Israel and Palestinian because there is a lot of confusions among nations and people. Some nations support Israel and while others support Palestinians. We can see the truth according to the Bible. And I believe there weren't any truths could be outside from the Bible. The first five books of the Hebrew Bible are known as the Torah or Pentateuch: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, believed by Christians, Jews, and Islams. The Hebrew script is older than the Aramaic script. Aramaic was the common language of the Jews, while Hebrew was the language of the upper class, religion, and government. Jesus read book of Isaiah in the temple and it was written in Hebrew text, but his spoken language was Aramaic. Now we can go back to Genesis and see the sons of Noah. Noah had three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The sons of Japheth were the ancestors of Indo-European people who lived from India to Western European. Gomer was one of the sons of Japheth. From his descendants, the Germanic peoples originated. These Germanic peoples later migrated and settled in different parts of Western Europe, including France, Spain, and Celtic regions. They contributed to the formation of these cultures we know today. Magog, Tubal, Meshach were the sons of Japheth. They settled in the far north of Europe and eventually became the Russian peoples. Madai was one of the sons of Japheth, is believed to have been the ancestors of ancient Medes. They settled in what is now Iran and Iraq. The people of India also came from this branch of Japheth's family. Javan. He also one of the son of Japheth. His descendants are called Greeks. The son of Gomer named Ashkenaz is believed to be the ancestor of the people who settled in the region north of Judea, which is known as the Fertile Crescent. The Fertile Crescent is an area that includes part of present-day Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Israel, and Palestine. And another one son of Gomer named Togarma. They are Armenians. The sons of Javan had names that are connected to different geographical locations. The name Kittim connected to Cyprus and Rodanim connected with Rhodes. Gomar connected with Germany. Meshach connected with Moscow. Tubal connected with Tobolsk. They were divided based on their families, nations, and language. Another one son of Noah was Ham. Ham was described as a curse, and it was imposed on of his son Canaan. The descendants of Ham settled in Africa and the forest. Another one of Ham's son is Cush. This family divided into two branches. Some founded Africa and some founded Ethiopia. Another sons of Ham's were Mizraim, Puth, and Canaan. In the Bible, Mizraim refers to Egypt, Put refers to Libya, the region of North Africa west of Egypt. Canaan refers to the people who originally settled the land we today think of as Israel and its surrounding regions. Cush had six sons and two grandsons. One of his sons named Nimrod. He was a mighty one on the earth, but not in a good way. He ruled over Babel, which was the first organized rebellion of humans against God. The name Nimrod itself means let us rebel. He was the mighty hunter before the Lord. He was powerful in hunting and in wickedness before the Lord. The sons of Mizraim were Ludim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphtuhim, Pathrusim, and Casluhim, from who came the Philistines and Captorim. Canaan had two sons, Zidon and Het. Their tribes were Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, Hivites, Arkites, Zinites, Arvadites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. Later, the Canaanite clans scattered, and the borders of Canaan reached from Sidon toward Gerar as far as Gaza, and then toward Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim as far as Lasa. These were the descendants of Ham by their clans and languages in their territories and nations. The sons of Shem were Elam, Azur, Arpazad, Lud, and Aram. Elam was an ancestor of the Persian people. Azur, who was the father of the Assyrians. Lud was father to the Lydians and lived for a time in Asia Minor, and Aram was father to Armenians, who were also known as the Syrians. Arpazad was the ancestor of Abram and the Hebrews. These were the descendants and nations of Noah after the flood on the earth, according to their families, according to their language, according to their nations. They were divided and spread into all over the world. God had chosen Abraham from the generations of Shem. God promised Abraham that his descendants would become a great nation and occupy the land of Canaan. When we look at Genesis 15:8, there Abraham had doubts about God's promise, so he asked for a proof. For giving a proof to Abraham, God said to him, "Know for certain that for 400 years your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, and that they will be enslaved and mistreated there. But I will punish the nation they serve as slaves, and afterward they will come out with great possessions. You, however, will go to your ancestors in peace and be buried at a good old age. In the fourth generation, your descendants will come back here, for the sin of Amorites has not yet reached its full measure." On that day, the Lord made a covenant with Abraham and said, "To your descendants I give this land, from the Wadi of Egypt to the great river Euphrates, the land of the Kenites, Kenizzites, Cadmonites, Hittites, Perizzites, Rephites, Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and Jebusites." After this conversation, and 13 years later, when Abram was at the age of 99, the Lord appeared to Abram and said, "I am El Shaddai, God Almighty." Then he announced that Abram's new name would be Abraham, which means a father of many nations. When Abraham was 100 years old, he begotten a son named Isaac. Isaac was the son that God promised to Abraham and Sarah. Abraham also had a son named Ismael. He was not the promised son to Abraham according to the Bible. Galatians 4 says Ismael represents the flesh, that is, human effort, and Isaac represents life in the spirit. Abraham had to send Ismael away because the flesh and the spirit can't harmonize. At that time, the son born according to the flesh persecuted the son born by the power of the spirit. Isaac, son of Abraham, had two sons named Jacob and Esau. According to the Bible, God favored Jacob over his twin brother Esau because God chose Jacob to continue the line of redemption and fulfill God's promise to Abraham and Isaac. God changed Jacob's name to Israel to mark a turning point in Jacob's life. He had 12 sons: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asir, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. Later, they were known as the 12 tribes of Israel. According to the prophecy and covenant that God had made to Abraham in Genesis 15, Jacob and his 12 tribes went to Egypt. There, for being 400 years, they were enslaved, mistreated, and persecuted. There they groaned and cried out. Their cry came up to God because of the bondage. So God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. God sent Moses to Egypt to lead the Israelites out of slavery and into the promised land. He led the Israelites out of Egypt and back to Canaan in the 14th century BC. In Canaan, the 12 tribes settled in different regions on either side of the Jordan River. I conclude this: before Israelites migrating to Egypt, the Israelites lived in Canaan. After they came out from Egypt in exile, they lived in the same land of Canaan, which is now modern day Israel, Palestine, and Lebanon. And also, God didn't forget Ismail. God promised to Abraham that Ismail would rise up a great nation of his own. Ismail and his mother Hagar settled in the desert of Paran after wandering in the wilderness. Rest of Israel according to the Bible. After the death of King Solomon, Israel was divided into two. The northern side of the kingdom was called Israel, and the southern side of the kingdom was called Judah. Here in this table were listed kings who ruled over Israel. After 731 BC, Israel was defeated by the Assyrians and became part of the Assyrian Empire. At the time of the birth of Jesus, the Romans had made Herod to be the king over Israel. Herod was not a Jew, he was a foreigner, although he was a Jew by religion. He did not obey the laws of the Jews. After King Herod the Great died in 4 BCE, his kingdom was divided among his three sons. In 70 AD, the Romans destroyed the temple in Jerusalem and looted its scared contents. With the revolt over for good, huge number of Jews left Judea to make a home elsewhere. After the Roman destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, the city was partially repopulated by 130 AD, but the city was eventually replaced by a Roman city. After 130 AD, Jerusalem was transformed into a Roman city, and the Jewish people were barred from living there. In 1517, Ottoman was ruling the region until British conquered it in 1917. The region was ruled under the British Mandate for Palestine until 1948, when the Jewish state of Israel was proclaimed in part of the ancient land of Israel. The modern state of Israel was established on May 14, 1948, which marked the first mass immigration of Jews into the land of Israel. This day is known as the Yom HaAliyah. According to the Bible and according to the legal mandate of government, the land of Canaan belongs to Israel. People of Jews, Christians, and Muslims have Torah for their common religious practices. They mentioned it clearly that the land of Canaan belongs to Israel. We all know that the Temple of Jerusalem belongs to Jews according to the Old Testament. Jews yet didn't accept Jesus as the Messiah, and Muslims didn't accept that Jesus is the God, but Christians did. We can pray for both groups should accept Jesus, the God. If they accept, then there wouldn't be any unnecessary war.